This is the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
It is time for a brand new edition of the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, John Solberg, and today's edition is being brought to you by The Butcher Shop. The Butcher Shop is home of the A9 Master Kobe briskets, where they are always hand-picked. This father and son team has operated this retail meat market in Pensacola, Florida for the past 15 years. Kevin and Jordan ship nationwide to the biggest names in barbecue. The A9 brisket won both sides of the American Royal Cook-Off, and that happened in 2019. They also ship some of the finest prime, dry-aged Australian Wagyu and Japanese Wagyu steaks to folks just like you and me who aspire to be the kings of their backyards. The Butcher Shop always has Berkshire, Compart Duroc, Allegiance Duroc, and Prairie Fresh all-natural pork in stock, and again, always hand-picked for you. Do you happen to be into any wild game items? Bison, venison, elk, ostrich, even camel. Have you been searching for those great big 10 to 12 pound boneless turkey breasts featured on How to Barbecue Right? The Butcher Shop has them in stock and they're ready to ship to you today. So whether you're looking for the best competition, briskets, ribs, or pork butts, or you just want to have some fantastic options to cook at home, give the Butcher Shop a call today. 850-458-8782. That's 850-458-8782. You can also get a hold of them on Facebook, facebook.com/thebutchershop, shop spelled SHOPPE. Be sure you mention the Barbecue Central Show and you will save 10% off your entire order. And speaking of brisket, we're going to visit a brisket round table from August the 5th, 2014. I'm going to let Greg take care of the introductions.
Donny Bray from Warren County Pork Choppers, Jason Ganahl from GQ Barbecue Team, and Jim Elser from Sweet Smoke Q. We just got done talking about what they cook on and the beef that they use and why they use it. Let's get into the important stuff, gents. Talk about some pre-cooked stuff here. And we'll start with Donny Bray from Warren County Pork Choppers. Donny, I guess it used to be kind of a hotly debated topic, and I've thought about weeding questions out, but I found that I've left them in, and then all of a sudden somebody surprises me with an answer, so I better not do that here tonight. Is it whole packers or flats for you?
That's whole packer. Uh-huh.
Have you ever dabbled with the flats, or have you ever been caught in a position where you've had to do it, and what do you like between the two?
Well, you're sacrificing, if you did do that, you're sacrificing a portion of that that makes really good burn in. So I have cooked flats before, but not for competition.
Jason, is it packers or have you done flats?
Yeah, first of all, I want to flick off my pencil here. I want to write down what Donny says as he's speaking here.
Right.
I cook pretty much just all packers. I like to turn in burn ins, so I use the point off the packer for my burn ins.
Have you ever used flats before, Jason? Or
no, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I've cooked them in my backyard, but I've never for a contest ever used flats.
Jim Elser, Sweet Smoke Q, is it flats or packers?
Packers.
Ever messed around with the flats?
Yeah, I think my first two contests 5 years ago, I did flats, and I know for a fact my first contest ever, I did a flat, and that was my first brisket ever cooked in my life. But down here in Florida, or the Southeast is, I think the judges are looking, with the packers, with the burn ins, like Donny said, they're looking for some, that's the last category. So they're looking for something sweet. And down here, our burn ends are real sweet.
All right. So let me ask this quick question, which isn't on the thing. Do you ever not turn in burn ends, Jim?
It's very rarely, but if I feel they're going to hurt my score, I will not turn them in. But I down here in the Southeast, I really do believe that the judges are looking for that, and I think it does affect your score. So if they're not up to par, I don't turn them in, but 98% of the time I do.
Jason, do you always if they're right and it's not going to detract, will you always turn in burn ends?
Yeah, I will. And I mean, I used to not be able to get them right all the time, so they used to stay out of the box. And you could still, 2 years ago, you could still do good turning in just flats. I don't know what it's like now. I've turned in burn ends probably like my last. I mean, I only do at most 15 cooks a year, but I've turned in burn ends probably my last 20 cooks.
Do you feel like if you didn't, you would be in a disadvantage situation?
Well, there's one person that I know is listening to your show right now. I think it was David. I don't remember who it was. No, it wasn't David. It was Tuffy. It was someone on Pitmasters. I couldn't remember a couple of years ago. And they made the comment, I think it was Tuffy, right, that made the comment that judges are expecting burn ends and someone didn't turn in burn ends. Therefore, a true pitmaster that shows the skill turns it in. And I think at that moment, a lot of judges saw that. And I think that's what kind of changed it. Whether or not it actually did or not, that's the perceived change kind of out here and amongst the cookers I talk to and stuff. So, yeah, a lot of people out here are turning in burn ends if they really want to impress the judges.
Of course, Jason, judges aren't expecting anything. That would be ludicrous.
Of course, right.
Donnie, assuming they aren't going to hurt you, are you always looking to turn burnt ends in?
Me?
Yeah.
And let me ask you the same question I just asked Jason. Do you think that if you didn't turn them in, that you wouldn't feel as comfortable with your brisket turn-in as you would if you're turning them in?
Was that a question to me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just tried that this year. Rome, Georgia. A couple of months ago, I had some burn ends that I felt like were just lacking just a little bit, but I had some slices that were over the top. And, I cook every weekend, so from one week to the next, you really get a chance to know, at least on your trailer, good from bad. So I had some that I felt like were over the top. I went ahead and turned them in without burn ends and finished, 13th, 15th. I done forgot. It was something that was definitely wouldn't help anything in points and cost me, had 3 other good categories and got reserve instead of grand. So I feel like since then, I've just tried to get jiggy with my burn ends. If I can do anything to them to correct what I feel is not right with it, they're going in the box.
Donnie, let me stay with you for the follow-up question here. And maybe now it's different than it was 3 or 4 years ago with how much briskets are costing anymore. But how many briskets are you cooking for a comp?
I only cook one, not really because of the finance part of it, but I feel like if I take 2 and I'm cooking 2 and one's a little bit lacking, I'll tend to just try to work and not try to bring the other one around. I just give up on it. I think that with one, I can stay focused on it, walk it through the cook, get it through the stall, and actually feel like I produce a better product with one than I do 2.
Jason, let me go to you for that question as well. How many briskets are in your cooker for a competition?
I agree with Donnie. I used to, a couple of years ago, I used to cook 2. I used to cook 1 cab, and when I was getting in the Wagyu, I used to cook 1 Wagyu. And I have found that it's just easier for me in my setup just to cook 1. So I just stick with just 1, and I feel like I can baby it better and just keep a close eye on it and pull it off right instead of trying to finagle with 2 and pulling 1 off a half hour before the other one, et cetera, and just creating more inefficiency in my cook.
Jim, are you going to buck trend here and say you're cooking like $1,000 worth of briskets during a competition, or are you a single guy as well?
Want to hear what Jim had to say? Head on over to the bbqcentralshow.com. There is a link in the show notes that will take you to the complete episode where you can get the rest of this fantastic brisket roundtable info. While you're cruising around the internet, make sure you visit the Butcher Shop on their Facebook page, facebook.com/The Butcher Shop, shop spelled SHOPPE. Mention the Barbecue Central Show when you talk to them, and you're going to save 10% off your entire order of A9 Master Kobe briskets. Thank you so much for listening today. Until next time on the Best Moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, I'm your host, John Solberg. I look forward to talking to you again soon.